Hello, ballots are officially out. I got both my sample ballots and locations for early voting and times for election day, and also where the ballot drop-offs are going to be. And then I also got my ballot this weekend, so I'm assuming quite a few of you already have received it, either on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And it's time. The time has finally come to go ahead and submit a vote and decide in this primary who you want to represent you in the general election. Over the weekend, I went out canvassing with my preferred candidate in the Democratic primary, and I had a blast. I got to meet quite a few of my neighbors, and it wasn't nearly as scary as I thought it was going to be, so that was really, really cool. And I'll probably go and drop some more flyers and try to knock on some more doors over the next week. The early voting officially begins on May 23rd, so we've got about 5 days once that starts. So I really want to push in the next 5 days or so to reach out to contacts, make sure people are talking about the election, make sure people know how to get registered if they aren't already. And I think one of the most important things about Nevada is that it is a closed primary. So if you are nonpartisan, which a majority of our, I believe a majority of the county, if I'm remembering the numbers correct, majority of our county are nonpartisan. So that means that none of those folks, which is almost 1 million people, can participate in either the Republican or Democratic primary. They would only be able to vote in the general election in November. So they would just have to pick from whoever got selected in those primaries and is on the main ticket, or from folks who decided to run as independents, nonpartisan, or some other third party. I appreciate that those people exist. I absolutely think everybody's vote should be heard regardless of our two-party system. But I do just want to emphasize that we do, in fact, we have a two-party system. And we especially have a two-party system in Nevada State because we have close primaries. I do just have to always point out that the voters have, voted to open our primaries and to do ranked choice voting, if I remember correctly, in the 2022 election. And I believe it was a close vote, so there was quite a few people who either didn't understand or definitely prefer to have close primaries. I also keep in mind, though, that when that vote went out, voting participation has been so low. It's been so low. Even in these last 2 to 3 midterms and general elections over the last few years, participation has increased to 50%. That is wild. I am anticipating that we will see far more participation this election cycle in 26 for these midterms because people's overall situations just are not better. They're just not better. Materially, emotionally, socially, I think everybody's just really quite burnt out. I have observed quite a bit of just kind of dread and frustration and kind of just wanting to check out and disassociate. And I think that we all deserve a better society than that, personally. So, all that to say, your ballot should have come in the mail. If you did not get a ballot, maybe you are not registered. Please go register to vote. I am not here to tell you what team to vote for or participate with. I don't really like the two-party system that we have. However, I am very much committed to working within the system that we have for us to get meaningful change for our communities, because I think we deserve at least that much. So please go out and check your registration, see about where you can possibly show up in person to not only vote, but to also register. That is also a thing that is possible here. You will need your identification to register to vote. You do not need your identification to submit your vote. I did notice in the sample ballot that there were some instructions about how the new voting process is going to work this year. So make sure to check that out. and see if you have any questions or if anything's confusing to you. Yeah. For all of you nonpartisan folks, this primary is really important. Really, really important. As far as I know, on both teams, there are folks not taking private money, not taking corporate or lobby money, and there are people who are. And all I will say is that our current leadership, as far as I am aware, have in fact cozied up with and taken money from very, very, very wealthy entities and people in our county. I think it's time for a change. I think it's time for us to focus on the people power that we do have, to encourage our young people to participate in our elections because they deserve better than what is in their future if we keep going in the direction that we're going. And we need to work within the system that we have. So please go out, check your registration, participate in the primary. As far as I'm aware, at least on the Dem side, the participation is like under 100,000 people, which is crazy to me. So let's blow those numbers out of the water. Let's shock everybody in our participation. I've seen how many people have been showing up for protests and have just been much more aware of what's going on around them and why things are the way they are and who's actually to blame for our current state of affairs. So I'm personally voting for Joy Hoover for my congressional district, which is District 1. That's who I was canvassing with over the weekend, and it was really cool getting to see her talk to some of the neighbors and discuss some of the things that they were concerned about. And one of the things that kind of added motivation for me, more so than I already was feeling toward her campaign, was she mentioned, she obviously has been in the community for over 15 years, actively participating in the community in Las Vegas area. And she was saying that one of her big motivations for running for this particular seat is that she wants to be able to affect federal legislation to protect the marginalized folks. So folks who are without shelter, folks who are victims of DV, folks who are just riddled with poverty and just don't have access to things that will make their lives materially better. So that was really motivating for me. Honestly, I hadn't even thought about the fact that it is an opportunity to submit legislation on the federal level to better protect people. And lastly, I will say, to close out, that historically speaking, Nevada has been a good temperature check of what's going on in the nation, whether it be how people are feeling about their well-being or lack thereof, how people are feeling about the economy, how much people are participating in elections, how strong unions are and how much power they still hold, and the direction that they tend to want to go, the policies that they support for things to improve for the people who actually work here, for the people who are trying to afford to live here. And this state is very purple. We have the full range of people from all over the world, people who speak different languages, people who have to go through the immigration system, people who are transient, may want to come and go for visiting or for work. Just people, the diversity is really beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. And it's one of my favorite things about living in Las Vegas and being from here. I've been able to meet and interact with people from the entire globe. And I find it to be very, very, very special. So I say all that to say, let's make a show of it. I hope all of you are taking really good care of yourselves, spending really good time with your chosen friends and family, and yeah, please go vote. Please go vote. Please go participate in our political system, because the version of it right now that we have is profoundly disappointing.